Here to what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is From the Big House to the Penthouse podcast. Stories of addiction and recovery. The lie is dead.
We
do recover.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna bring my guitar in here one day, man. I'm gonna jam out to this thing.
Keep saying it.
Dun, dun, dun,
What's going
dun,
on,
dun.
everybody? Welcome back to another episode of From the Big House to the Penthouse. As always, your host is Ricky Cruz.
And my co-host, Raul Moreno. Raul. Hey, we were at that function, right? That girl kept saying your name with Raul. She's like, that's so sexy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, what'd you do this weekend, bro?
Man, this weekend, what did I do? I went to the event with you. Well,
We met up there. I forgot that you were gonna be. Yeah. You were at the VIP. You're at the VIP table, man. I don't get those type of invitations, man. I had to pay for my table.
Man.
I didn't get it. Yeah.
You cracked me up with your auction item, though.
Oh man, yeah, that was amazing, dude. I'm gonna show it off here in a minute. When I get a chance to break loose. I bought a flamethrower. Can you imagine a recovering addict with a flamethrower, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn some stuff down.
You had me laughing, man. You know, I was talking about. I said that you and Lisa were auctioning against each other.
Yeah, I didn't know I was auctioning against her for a little bit, man. That little sucker. She brought up the price. She must like it a lot better than me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Funny,
But yeah,
you had us all laughing though.
That was Friday. Was that Friday or Thursday?
Friday.
That was Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, man.
But listen, huh?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you, man, we got a special guest today,
man. Hey,
yeah.
We've been bugging and trying to get this guy.
He wouldn't come on, man. He wouldn't come on.
I owe Ricky $50 because I told Ricky that he wasn't going to come.
Well, and the reason I said $50 was because I had to bribe him with tacos. He's like, man, you buy me tacos, I come on the show. I was like, well, you might be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, man, what's good? Tell us who.
Well, this guy, I'm going to introduce him, man. Ernesto Morales, that's his name, man. And I've known him for, I don't know, man, like 7-8 years now, somewhere around there, a long time. A little longer than I've wanted to. You know what I mean? But no, seriously, he's a good dude, man. He's a good friend of mine. And he's a recovering addict. He has a great story, dude. A great story. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be even more honest that this bulk here that's here is not supposed to be here, man. He's not supposed to be here. He's a walking, talking miracle. And he's a prime example, man, in my eyes and in my opinion, man, of if you really want something, man, you'll get it. Because this guy here, he's like me. And like a lot of us, and you know, we've seen the depths, man, of hell, and we've experienced it, and he's seen it, man. He's lived it, and he's here to talk about it, man. He's finally here. He's gonna open up and share his experience, strength, and hope with us, man.
Yeah.
And and I know through me here at the shop, you've met him, and you have your own little thing to say about him. Say a little bit about Ernesto yourself, Raul.
No, man. From what I've gone to a few of the meetings, and actually, I think I was there when you got your 1 year or 2 year. I think
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year. Yeah.
1 year. Mm-hmm.
And man, the way Ricky shared stories with me about yourself, but on a private level, and it's just like I can't picture it, man, because you're just this cool ass dude. You're just like real chill. I can. That's all I see. I can't picture the other one.
He's considered like a heart attack. I mean, he's a silent killer. He's cholesterol. We call him cholesterol. You know what I mean? He sneaks up on you. Yeah. So,
Man.
yeah, Ernesto, man, introduce yourself, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Ernesto Morales. Yeah, I thank you for having me on here.
My pleasure.
I've denied it a couple of times. And, I'm just nervous. I feel like my story is it's barely getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have a long way to go
Mm-hmm.
because I come from
Keep talking. I'm sorry.
I come from no hope. No hope.
What does that mean? No hope. What do you mean by that? You mean you come from? You mean you come from? When you say no hope, do you mean like you come from a rough start? Is that what you're talking about, or do you? What is it? What do you mean? No hope.
Well, no hope is it's all self-inflicted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I got to a point where I lost all hope.
Mm-hmm.
I got caught up in my addiction. I
Mm-hmm.
got caught up in I grew up in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
As a young kid, yeah, my dad was there, my mom and my dad, and then at a certain point, they had their troubles.
Mm-hmm.
They went their ways, and
Did your parents have problem with addiction too? Do you think they had their issues?
yeah. I mean, my mom, she had her problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And today I come from a point of view where I can understand today.
Right.
She had her problems, and then my dad, he had a lot going on, especially with his health. So at a young age, I was kind of put out there on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my sister, and I lived with my grandma for a long time. And I got to, my dad was very strict on me.
Mm-hmm.
He was very strict. He taught me and I was very willing to, to do what I wanted to learn and to do what he was telling me to do. So I was a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was a really good kid.
Mm-hmm.
Straight A's.
That's hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
I'm in a mess with you. Keep going.
It
Yeah.
didn't last long.
And I'm going to tell you, not to interrupt you, man, but when I met Ernesto, man, I saw talent in him. I really did. Now, and I didn't. I don't usually. I don't usually take a chance on just on too many folks. But when I saw this guy, man, and I talked to him, I thought he was a really swell guy, and I said, you know what, this guy's really smart, man. He's really bright, and I said, you know what, I think we can do something together, and then he came to work at the shop. But I look, we're getting too fast into the story too soon, man. Bring us back, man. Look, bring us back in time, Ernesto. Bring us back, as far as you can tell in your childhood when you were a young kid. And I'm sure, like all of us, we were very happy. And then things started happening, they started to change your life. Or when you started to say, I want you to bring us up to the point where the first time you were either introduced to drinking or drugs, or what caused you to go, hey, well, let me try this, or let me drink this. Like, for an example, at my parents' parties, I used to sneak in and take a sip of my dad's beer. You know what I mean? I thought that was so freaking cool. And then I'd pretend like I was drunk. You know what I mean? Tell us about that. If you had those experiences, I don't know if you did or not.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I did. My mom, she had went her way, and my dad had some legal issues, and so me and my sister, we stayed with my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed with my grandma, and so now I'm in like 6th grade. I'm a kid. My sister's in elementary, and it's just me, my grandma, and my sister. And now I can kind of do what I want.
Oh yeah.
And that's
so. Grandma wasn't that strict. Was Grandpa around? Your grandfather around?
My grandpa passed away when I was a kid.
Okay, right.
So grandma, my dad was there, but my grandma, she can only do so much.
Right.
So I kind of started doing, hanging around the wrong people, and because I started to lash out and out of pain. My dad was gone. My mom was gone. You know, and that caused me a lot of pain mentally inside. You know, I remember, my dad not there, and then, my dad was like in jail, but I would be like, man, where's my mom at? You know, and that's, and so I had a lot of pain. And so that kind of caused me to act out,
lash out, act out,
act out.
But you didn't know you were acting out at the time, right? You just thought that was just the thing to do. Or right now, you reflect on your life, going, "Man, I was acting out because my mom wasn't there."
No,
Maybe
I mean, I knew I was acting out. I knew, like I was.
You knew you were doing wrong, and you didn't care.
Yeah.
You just doing it anyway. Yeah.
I started, doing drugs, and I started at a young age. I would get arrested at school.
They have cops at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What school you go to?
Dude, I graduated in 88.
That was before they had police. Right?
Yeah. They were still on horses. Anyway, so you got arrested in school.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
A lot of times.
Well, tell us the first one. I'm interested in that one.
Well, I started hanging around with this gang, and then, I started doing started tagging up, just, stupid stuff, kid stuff. But and then the bus teacher told on me.
Bitch.
So
So it's got to be a bus teacher, man. Yeah.
So they cops that came to the classroom and arrested me, and then and I had a gang affiliated bullshit. So, but yeah, 12 years old, I kind of I stole my first car.
You stole a car at 12 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Really?
I started acting out. I had a lot of pain inside that a lot of people couldn't see, because I do a good job at, even today. I think I'm not a front, but like somebody was telling me today up in the front office, they're like, man, I can't even tell that you come from, because you come from what you've been through, because I've always, covered it. So I was, at a young age, I was, I had, I was going through a lot. And that when, that's that stealing the car story is kind of funny, because I snuck out in the middle of the night and I took it, and then I returned it.
You returned the car. That's mighty nice of you.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a thief that would steal a car and bring it back.
That's an honest thief, right
Get you
there.
damn straight,
Did you
man.
at least
That's all
wash it,
right.
Fill up the tank. Or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. And I went with a friend, and he was like shaking. And
He's scared.
Yeah.
You're like, I got this, man.
Yeah. I was a kid. We just drove around, and I brought it back. Anyways, I started, that was the beginning for me. I had freedom. My dad wasn't there, and I kind of had freedom. And, and I can drag that out of all that, the pain that I've been through. Especially my dad is a big part of because when I was a kid, my dad, he was, he was very strong. He was strong, and he was, he taught me well. He taught me, I think he taught me pretty good. But, some things happened. And I watched my dad come from this strong man to watching a man that that he had lost his arm in an accident trying to work, and he he had a lot of health problems. My family has health problems. So I watched, he went through a lot, man. That drove me, watching him being there, trying to be there for him. That drove me to hurt, to really hurt. And so because my dad had so many medical problems,
Mm-hmm.
I still was able to do what I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
because he was at home, and I was, and I would leave for school in the morning. I wouldn't get back till late, just out there doing what I was doing. I grew up in Pasadena. Saying that says enough.
Yeah, for real.
And I grew up.
So when you were saying, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you said some of us, when we refer to our dad as being big and strong, we have this thing that they're just like, we look at it as our parent, as our dad, to be this image of a strong-willed person. But your dad was a big, strong guy. Is that what you're saying? He was physically big, and is that what you're referring to? That he was physically a big guy? Or you just
he was strong, but big, he was very business minded.
Okay.
He was but yeah, he was strong.
He's also a big physical, and you said that he lost his arm in an accident, which that sometimes when people lose a limb, they don't move around as much as they used to, and they seem to shrink a little bit. Is that what
he lost?
Yeah. You saw your dad getting smaller and smaller, and probably in your mind weaker. Would you think that he was getting weaker, and that image of your dad you had before was hurting you?
It hurt a lot.
So I see the pain.
Because he kept going, he would have a heart attack and this and that. He would be on all these medicines and all these different kind of medicines. I think he wasn't there anymore.
Right.
And then that was, for me, one of the hardest things.
Right. I could imagine.
For my sister too, I kind of grew up at a young age, up until like late elementary, with some structure. My sister was kind of just born into the chaos. She didn't have that structure as a young kid that I have. So that, for me, that hurt too, because I watched this strict guy not be a different.
So he was a little. You think he was softer with your sister than he was with you?
Yeah.
So do you think your sister? She whatever she received from your dad, the discipline was different than yours? Yeah. Well, a lot of times, but women, girls are different.
I think the same
though.
thing with dads when they raise daughters and raise Robert. Like I said, like you raise Robert, and then you raise your girls.
I mistreat all my children the same. I mistreat all them some bitches the same, man. I don't like none of them.
No, I can say that I could see it.
Yeah.
Like, my girls are my princesses. You know what I mean? They don't do no wrong.
Yeah.
Even when they do. Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference in
absolutely,
what you can kind of do what you want. There's a big difference.
So let me, so we've got a little taste of a little bit of what your adolescence, if that's the word I'm looking for, of how the structure was in your home. So if I can recap, you're from Pasadena. And Pasadena, there's a lot of freedom in Pasadena. There seems to be a lot more people on the streets in Pasadena, like in Pearland. Does that make sense? Like when you drive through Pasadena, Spencer Highway, and all those little Red Bluff, you see a lot of people walking on the streets.
It's a different,
right? It's a different thing, right? It's a different. It's a different.
Yeah.
It's like a different nation. I mean, not a different,
really
right? It's just like everybody's walking, and everybody walks everywhere. So it's more, you come to Pearland, not too many people are walking. Everybody's driving, and kind of that, right?
And then when you do see people walking, you're like, I wonder why they're walking.
Right. What do they got with them? Yeah. So, so that's what you were raised in, a lot of the streets, and probably walk here, walk there, and steal this. You walk somewhere to get whatever you're going to get, or steal what you're going to get, and then run it back or whatever. So that was your, how was the school? I mean, did you go to a good school, or was it school like, you got your uppity class schools where people go, there's no metal detectors and stuff. Yours, I mean, the school you went to, there was metal detectors, and you already know there was cops, right? Because you got arrested a couple of times, even on the bus.
Well, man, I went to a lot of different schools.
What do you mean a lot of different schools? You moved around?
Yeah, we moved a lot. I went to
that must have been tough too.
I went to Deer Park High School, LaPorte High School, Pearland High School.
So it just gets worse and worse.
And all those cities, I went to all their alternative schools.
What does alternative schools mean?
When you get in trouble.
So when you say you moved around a lot, were you asked to leave?
It wasn't like you would move because you wanted to.
Yeah.
No, just everything going on with the family. We move here and there. And
right.
So that's why I moved. But every time I moved, I kept getting.
So tell me, tell the audience, man, what was your first experience with drugs, man, and alcohol or drugs, or vice versa, or both at the same time, or how did that, and which drug was it? Will you share that with us?
Yeah, I will. In junior high, I started smoking weed.
Who introduced you to it, or how did it?
Somebody at school, they gave me some weed. Said, here you go. I knew it. I kind of knew already know what to do with it. So and I liked it because I had so much pain, and and in addiction, when somebody that has a lot of pain, if they don't feel pain for a moment, that they're like, oh, I like this.
But let me tell you this though. Now I'm going to tell you, Ernesto, but me, let's say in my experience, when I smoked weed, it wasn't because I was in pain. I wanted to have a good time. You know what I mean? Back then, I wasn't trying to forget shit. I just wanted to have a good time. I think there was a group of kids in school. I wanted to be cool with them. You know what I mean? I think there was a chick and that guy. I remember it was in elementary, or it was in elementary. We would go out in the parking lot. That's where we had a recess. And man, this girl had a bag of weed, man. And I wanted to be in elementary, dude. I'm telling you. And is elementary like sixth and seventh grade, right?
No, that's middle school.
Oh, okay, the middle school. Yeah. What's elementary?
Like
younger?
fourth grade?
No, never. I'm sorry, not elementary. I don't know what I'm tripping. But so this girl, I remember we're up in the it was 7th or 8th grade, whatever, 6th or 7th grade, something like that. And man, she had some awesome weed, man. And I remember it's nice and green and beautiful, and we smoked it in a pipe. There wasn't no rolling. We were out there smoking it, and
in school.
Well, in the parking lot, because we had recess in the parking lot. That for some reason we had recess in the parking lot after lunch.
Yeah.
And man, I smoked it because I was like, shit, they're smoking it, man. I want to be cool. I want to be, and I smoked it, man. I remember it felt great, man. I was like, man, this is awesome, man, dude. And I mean, I never had any bad experience. I'm going to tell you, I kind of enjoyed smoking weed, and then the drinking was cool too. Friday nights at whenever the football game at the schools, everybody, you want to see your friends after school at night. You see them. It's just like this atmosphere in the air, and then hey, man, get somebody adult to get us some beer and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And it was super cool. Everything was cool for me, man. Drugs in the beginning were great, man. Drinking too. You know what I mean? Cocaine was amazing too when I found out cocaine, man. Cocaine was amazing all through to me, when it became an habit. And this is what I want to ask you. I'm setting up the timeline for this. I want you to tell us about how everything was fun, everything was great. Maybe it was a disaster from the beginning to your experience, but mine was awesome. That's
a disclaimer too. We're not saying go out and try this.
No, absolutely not. I'm just sharing my experience and what I experienced in the beginning, because we're setting the tone. We're setting the tone of how it was great in the beginning, and then it became a nightmare. I want my audience to know that it looks attractive. It looks great. But don't do it. You know what I mean? Because, you end up, we're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky. And I'm lucky that we're here. A lot of us don't make it here.
Right.
So share those experiences with us, Ernesto. I'd like to hear your experience on that. You heard a little bit of mine. So I'm setting the platform for we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
go for it.
Yeah, of course, I think we all kind of try things, just to be cool. To be cool, to do this and that, and to join in with, to be a part of something. So I, drinking with, with this person or that person, and barbecuing. My family drank and barbecued a lot.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm not surprised that no wonder you were the fajita master at one time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, that was cool. to drink.
Well, of course,
It
yeah.
was super cool.
Yeah.
To drink, to party, and you know,
Be
and,
hip. Yeah.
and you know, drugs were kind of not always like they were. You know, they would come up, cocaine and this and that would come up, but um, you know, it was drinking was my major. Growing up, drinking was my, you know, what caused a lot of trouble for me. You know, fights and you know, in high school I sold a lot of. I didn't do drugs. I sold a lot of drugs. And then one day I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna take some of this Xanax. And then I woke up in handcuffs.
Yeah, that'll happen.
In the classroom. So,
in the classroom. Yeah.
So, you know, but I wasn't really like big drug user. I was mostly drinking as a drug. But drinking was, you know,
Drinking was your thing.
Yeah.
You liked to drink. You loved to drink.
Growing up as a kid.
Did you black out when you drank or no?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
So you drank until you blacked out.
I drank.
Did you blacked out when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's my sister. That's my sister. Yeah. Yeah. I blacked out a lot. I mean, not a lot, but sometimes I would.
So I thought that one time, because I remember, and I'm gonna jump the story, man. I'm gonna go forward. I sold him a car one time when he first came to work for me, and he was doing great, man. I said the only reason I allowed him to work for me, I was already in recovery, right? I was already in recovery, and I told him the only way you can work for me, man, is you can't drink, you can't smoke, you know, weed. And you have to go to meetings, man, because I knew that he you know, he told me he had a problem with that, you know, because with the discussion we had. Well, I sold him a car. I think I sold your car like cheap, like $200-300. I think I sold it for him. I don't remember.
$100.
$100. I sold him his car, and you know what the son of a gun did? I think, and he and you're gonna, I'm not gonna share your story. I want you to say where he lived. I can't tell you where he lived. He can share it if he wants, but he relapsed. He relapsed, and I don't know how, but I had to go get the car. He went in the ditch in the car, and then we had to get it out. Did you go to jail?
No.
He didn't go to jail. I don't know how the hell he showed up, messed up.
Somebody picked me up
and brought him back to the shop.
Yeah.
And I had to go get the car over there out of the ditch from the impound. Anyway, I'm telling you this story because I want you to lead up to that and tell our audience that story. Do you remember what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So pick up where you left off, man. I don't remember. I messed you all up.
But
about blacking out and drinking and blacking out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, me and my family, we drank a lot, and
he always says sack. A sack.
Yeah, so back to my dad. My dad eventually, my dad had passed away about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. We're sorry to hear that.
Yeah. At one and then I have a lot of regrets, and I need to work on it because that I'm talking about pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because I should have been there for my dad, but I was out there doing what I wanted to do, trying to get this or that or and trying to drink and trying to party and stuff.
Well,
I wasn't there for my dad, and then at one point, in Pasadena, I grew up. I grew up around a lot of gangs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I grew up in the old Pasadena. Today is
there's a new one.
Yes, it's a whole different story today. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too into that, but old school. I was kind of guided with like older gangsters that taught me what I some things that I used when I went out this last time. But in high school, in 12th grade, I always did school. Even Pasadena, like I said.
Tell us.
Oh, Pasadena High School, like they're like it's not really a great school to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So I did school, but I kind of.
So you're saying that if you're in the future would have children, you would not take them to Pasadena school district? You would try to keep them away from there?
Shit, would you?
Well, yeah. Well,
Well, I've never experienced. I don't know. I never lived in
Well, just
Pasadena.
from what I hear,
I just go over there to buy barbacoa and I get out. When I used to eat meat, yeah, I go buy barbacoa on Sundays and I'm out of there, brother. Go ahead, man.
But yeah, so I got real deep in it.
Uh-huh.
I hung around this Mexican gang, but I couldn't be in it. But I was a part of it because I'm half Mexican. My mom is white, my dad is Mexican, so I couldn't really technically. But I was.
They couldn't accept you in 100%.
Yes,
right.
But I was in it, but I was miserable, man. The lifestyle, I liked it, but it was miserable. So I was doing a lot of work.
Why were you miserable?
Because it wasn't right. I was miserable because I had a lot of things going on in my head. I had a lot of, and this is a kind of a story where, I don't want to know if I want to talk about it, but I had some things in my head that would tell me, hey, do this or do that. And I didn't want to,
You didn't want to do them.
Yeah. So I reached out I kind of went to church off and on. And I reached out to these people from some church in LaPorte, and they sent me to the ranch. They sent me to the ranch.
You reached out to these people at church.
Yes, because
you knew you were doing wrong. You wanted something different.
Yes.
What's the ranch?
The ranch is a Christian ranch in Eufaula, Oklahoma, Calvary Christian ranch, and that's what it was. I lived on the ranch, and I dropped out of high school that day. The next day, they drove me over there, and they accepted me over there to be in the academy at that school. But it was on a ranch, so I worked with horses and different exotic animals, and it was kind of cool.
So was the point the sobriety, or it was just a different type of?
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
Okay.
But it was a Christian.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it was it's kind of like a stricter Christian because it was like old school Baptist, so I went there.
But you knew somebody and they got you that gig. They got you in there. When you went there to the ranch, you went and lived there?
Yeah, I lived
You
there.
lived at the ranch.
Yeah, and I left my dad. I went home. I left school because I was gonna do something to this person, and I left, and I was dealing with some demons that day. I was dealing with some demons that day, and not like in my head, like I felt like demons was actually there, and I need to make a choice. I need to make a change. That was the only people at the time that I knew to reach out to. And so, anyways, they got me into it the next day. They picked me up the next morning. We drove to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I left my dad, man. And I don't know if it was good or bad that I went there, but today I was like, damn, my dad was sick. My sister was young. But I went there, and the kind of person I am is I kind of go to the extreme on things. So I went all
Most
out.
addicts do, bro.
Yeah, I went all out for this recovery thing. I mean, not for recovery, for this Christian trying to be a good godly person. But man, I was preaching and reading the Bible a lot and working at the ranch. And so at that ranch we sold candles.
Candles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like religious candles.
Well, no, not religious, like regular candles. They had a candle factory, and they would not pick us up, but we would go from the van. Some of us would stay and work at the ranch. Some of us would go and sell candles all over Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some Missouri, some North Texas. And which is a cool experience to say today, but you know, and I was doing good, and then one day, man, it's just like spontaneously. One day, I started thinking about my past, and getting in my head, you know. And today I have tools today in recovery about this, but I started, what's the word, to
Reminisce.
yeah, to fantasize about drinking and smoking and all that. And
At the ranch.
yeah,
Okay, you started.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we would go out and sell candles, you
Mhm.
know, and so I was out, you know, and I was selling candles. Hey, we're from Calvary Christian Academy, you know, we're out trying to sell our candles, and
You're hustling.
yeah, trying to.
Yeah.
So, man, even then, man, I I don't even know if they know, but sometimes, you know, you can sell a box of candles at kind of a wholesale price.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go back and I would tell them I sold them individually. That way I'll keep some change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when those kind of actions led me to messing up while I was there.
Right.
Like really messing up. Like we would go in the store, and somehow, some way, like that, because we went with the partner, I would buy beer, liquor, and cigars, and I would take it back to the ranch, and I started, you know, slowly. I found this you know, that synthetic stuff, and one day they did a sweep. You know, they you know, sometimes they go check things, and then they found everything
On you.
Yeah, they in my because we had little drawers.
Locker, little drawer. Yeah.
Yeah. They found all my cigars and everything I had there. And,
You had a lot of stuff?
yeah. Well, I mean, not a lot, but I had some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff you wasn't supposed to have.
Yeah.
And they gave me a chance, and they were gonna keep me out.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a chance, but I denied the chance.
You're like, this is my opportunity to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted some freedom.
And I used the excuse of I need to go home.
Yeah.
My dad said. But really, I wanted to go home. And first thing I did, I got home was I drank. I opened a Bud Light. I hadn't drank in a Bud Light in a long time, and it tasted good.
Were you of age to drink already at the time? How old were you?
I was. I don't think I was of age.
No, so you didn't. Where'd you get the beer from? Who bought it for you?
The family.
So you went home to your family, one of your cousins or somebody, or what? Can you remember?
Yeah, well, we barbecued and I mean,
and you just grabbed a beer. Yeah, so everybody's always barbecuing and drinking in your family.
Yeah, I've been drinking since I was a little kid. So yeah, that eventually, but when I came back home, I didn't go out to the streets. I didn't go out and hang out with this person because I left that, but I stayed home, and all I did is I isolated. I isolated, and I stayed home with my dad, and I kind of, not really, but I kind of like was there, but I was just there, and I wasn't a good influence on him. You know, I should have took him walking, and I should have, helped him eat right and stuff like that. But all I wanted to do was drink and to party and barbecue and eat. So,
so a lot of that, you would you say that a lot of that pain you carried along all these years, man, and then and it was always you would go back. Is it safe to assume that you would use drinking and drugging and whatever to self-medicate yourself? Because I'm going to tell you, Ernesto and Raul, what I used to do, man, I used to listening to you share this story, which is amazing, man, because it reminded me of me and some of the childhood trauma that I had, right? Which I thought at the time was just normal shit, which it wasn't. I thought everybody, everybody's parents acted that way. I thought that everybody's cousins barbecued and drank beer and smoked weed. I just thought it was, I thought it was normal things. I didn't realize that we were all whacked out. You know what I mean? The Brady Bunch or whatever, the constables, man. I thought it was just, a show. And in reality, there is some people that live their life like that. Now, I was going to ask you, Ernesto, about living in pain and all that. A lot of times, man, we're taught in the program, and not that we're not promoting Narcotics Anonymous here, although him and I we're members, and I want to. We're members of Narcotics Anonymous. I've got 10 years. How much time you got clean?
I got since July 17th of 2020.
I'm not good with math. I know you've got over a year clean, right?
Yeah.
Because you got your medallion last July.
He's a little over a year and a half.
Yeah,
Right.
he's coming close to 2 years.
Yeah, he's working on that, and I know I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share something, and I keep going forward, and I back whenever he shares, I expect him to catch up, but I go forward. I'm very proud of Ernesto. I'm going to tell you why, man. He stepped up to the plate. When coronavirus hit, man, a lot of the groups, a lot of our groups, our group in particular, our home group, went down to just opening meetings to like 1 or 2 days a week, and then we went to 3 days: Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we noticed that a lot of newcomers, right? The newcomers were needing meetings more often. And I'm going to tell you something, contrary to what some people didn't want and some people were against it, right? This guy here, man, he stepped up to the plate. I was like, holy shit. And he said, man, let's open it up, man. Let's open it up Tuesdays. Let's open it up Thursday. And he just didn't, suggest it, but he said, I will run the Tuesday meeting, and Thursday, I think somebody else took it up, and then whatever. So this guy's really working a strong recovery, man. And it's just not about his recovery, man. And we learned in the program, man, it's not about us, man.
Yeah.
This isn't about us.
Right.
It's about what can we do for someone else, man. And then I think finally he's Ernesto seeing that part, man, because as we all know, man, this disease that we have, because it's a disease, man, we become selfish, man. We're just self-centered. All we think about it. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something else. In the beginning, I've heard recovering addicts in my group, and I think they're full of shit, some of them. And I don't want to call them out by name, but some of them, but I probably will in a little bit. But I was some of them, and this is another thing. But I hear some recovering. I said, I was sorry. I had no conscience and blah blah blah. I don't know about you, man. And it sounds, but his story that he's saying, he has a conscience, man. He had a conscience because he knew all along he was doing wrong and it was hurting him inside. Right. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that passion. I like to hear that honesty. You know what I mean? Because when we get honest in the program, we get honest with ourselves, man, and we start seeing what we're really about. It's when we can make a difference in someone else's life and in our life. And by hearing Ernesto share, and I'm just sitting back listening to him, right? He's going, man, what I dig about his story so far, he was supposed to do something really wrong, really bad. And he decided to leave to go to Oklahoma, right? Because he knew that whatever was expected for him to do here was really bad, and he didn't want to do it. Didn't want to live it. He didn't know that at the time. All he knew that his conscience was he didn't want to do it for whatever reason, right? And he went to Oklahoma and he screwed that up. Why? He had an opportunity there, right? And he messed it up like a lot of us, So keep sharing. I know I keep interrupting you, and
no, that's fine.
Yeah. So keep going on what you were saying, man.
Okay, so I'm going to skip forward. My dad, finally, he went through a lot, and it was kind of at a I never was like, I'm gonna stop. I thought I did too. I thought, just we drink and we smoked, and I thought, I didn't know
it was normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought like that's what life was, but
life is about barbecue and drinking, man. What are you talking about? Yeah.
So my dad, I started working for. I met this girl, and she started staying with me and my dad, my sister, and you know, and then I started working at O'Reilly's. My dad, I don't know what happened. My dad, we lived at my grandma's house, and I'm not sure. My dad would never speak about finances, which I wish he did, but he would never speak about stuff like that with us. So he had lost at my grandma's house somehow, and we moved to some apartments in Pasadena. So we stayed there at the apartments, and I worked for O'Reilly's. I delivered parts to the mechanic shops.
No wonder I kept getting my shit laid back then. One more Riley's. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I would, hey man, and that's another thing, man. I would take like, I would drink while driving.
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Another disclaimer.
Yeah, so that's crazy, man. I've always done wrong. Just like not the right thing.
Right.
So
You too?
yeah. So I started working for O'Reilly's, and then you know, I was like, you know, man, we can, you know, the girl I was with, she worked at Sonic, and so we're like, we can get an apartment here in the same apartments.
In Pasadena.
So we got our apartment, and man, that first night we got our apartment, the cops got caught.
The cops got called to your new apartment?
Yeah. We didn't have much. We had a big speaker, and it was too loud. We had people over, and it was a big deal.
Party time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we had got an apartment. My dad lived in the same apartments, and I started. You know, I was with this girl, and I started. You know, that's how my life was. You know, that her and working, and even though I live, you know, I share that because I have that. Today I still, man, I should have been there. Not for my dad. And I need to. I'm gonna get to that part, but I need to do some step work on it. But I think I've done some step work on it. And so, anyways, my dad, one day, I was at a party, and I got a phone call. My dad passed away. And my dad passing away was the beginning of a lot of trouble for me. You know, my dad passed away. We did the funeral. You know, that was hard. That was super hard, man. You know, and I felt like I had to be strong for my sister, for my family, and I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't cry, but I was hurting so bad. And then one day, I talk about emotions a lot because emotions are a big part of my music. I was, you know, and so, man, I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't cry in front of anybody until one day, you know, we're doing something, and I was with this girl I was with. I closed the door to the bedroom. I let it all out. I haven't cried that hard since. It was right after my dad passed away. And so after that, you know, I never paid rent, and then I eventually lost the apartment. And then you know, from that point I was kind of homeless. I went and I lived with this girl's grandma, and then we lived with her aunt, and I was homeless, but I was still like trying to, you know, I didn't have money for nothing, but I was still trying to do drugs and stuff. And
so you were out on the street. You didn't have a home.
No, well, I stayed.
What about your grandma's house?
My dad had lost my.
Oh, I missed that part. Yeah, I think you had said that earlier.
Yeah.
So your dad had your grandma's house, and he lost it.
Yeah, we moved.
Your grandma passed away?
Yeah, my grandma had passed away.
Okay.
Back. So we lived in those apartments, and then I lost that apartment. I lost it. You know, I got pulled over, and then like me and that girl, we both went to jail. And so I stayed in jail, and then, you know, I couldn't work, and then like I lost the apartment. And so my sister went to live with a very good family, man.
Mm-hmm.
They took good care of her. She and man, but I'm glad that she had somewhere to go because I wasn't somebody for her to be with.
Right.
And but man, I was kind of just thrown out there, and I didn't have nowhere. I didn't at that time. I wasn't homeless, but I was staying at this girl's grandma,
Mm-hmm.
and then this girl's aunt or uncle, and then back to the grandma, and then Ricky Cruz is a big part of my recovery.
Oh, is that when we met?
That's when we met.
Okay, so I got
So
questions.
I come into go ahead, man.
So
Yeah.
how did y'all meet?
You want to tell him? You want me to tell him? Yeah.
You can tell.
You want me to tell you how we met this
Yeah,
sucker?
I wanna know.
Man, it was Thanksgiving. I think
Mm.
it was Thanksgiving. And I'm going to tell you the story about him taking my roast too, man. Taking off with my roast.
You stole a roast?
No, when he didn't. No, he actually
Oh.
took this. At least I gave it away, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
story behind it, man. All I remember, man, and my memory is very, very short. But Thanksgiving, I was at the house that belonged to the girls now, man, and Megan came. I invited my family over to the house to have Thanksgiving. And I think, I'm not sure, and to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was waiting out in the truck, a truck that I had bought Megan. When I got out of recovery and I was getting my life together, I was trying to provide for my children. And I think I bought her a truck. And we were in having Thanksgiving dinner, and I said, hey, well, I think he was in the truck waiting for her.
No. We were at Lisa's old house. And then you were at the front door, letting everybody out. And
No, but the story because when is it? Whenever we were at the house at my house, and we were sitting there. And you might remember but we were sitting there. It was Thanksgiving dinner. The other one was Christmas. It was Thanksgiving, and I remember Megan was going to go to her grandma's to spend Thanksgiving dinner. She would visit me, and then she was going to go to her grandma's because then her mom and them were going to be there, right? And he ate dinner. Ernesto came in. I said, let him come in and eat dinner with us, right? So eat dinner with us. I remember being at my house, and then I said to Megan, well, y'all going to go? And she's like, no, well, he's going to come, but he's going to wait in the car, in the truck.
oh yeah.
She was taking him to their grandma with their family. And I said, well, he's going with you. He's like, yeah, but he's going to wait in the truck. I said, what do you mean he's going to wait in the truck, in the vehicle? It's Thanksgiving. He's like, well, I don't think they like him or something like that. I don't know, right? I might be making that up. I don't know. But I said, no, man, what do you mean he's going to wait in the truck? And I looked over. I said, listen here, fat boy. He was a big guy. I said, hey, listen, man.
Weren't you too?
I kind of was, but I was handsome. But so I looked over at him. I remember telling him, I said, hey, listen, man, you can't be waiting out in the truck, man. It's Thanksgiving. I said, hey, leave him here. I said, you want to stay here? And I said, look, man, there's food. We're watching a Casino. I think we're watching Casino, one of those gangster movies. Yeah. He goes, you don't mind? I said, no, I don't mind. I was like this. I said, I'm going to take me a nap. I'm going to sleep with one eye open with this son of a bitch. I was like, he looked like a little thug, man, when he was in my house. But I said, you know what? He don't talk a lot. I like that. He don't talk too much, talk too much trash. And I said, look, man, I'm just going to take a nap, man. Look, the food's right there, the refrigerator. I'm going to watch TV. You just, help yourself, man. You know what I mean? I said, Megan, you come back and get him whenever you're done. And then that's all I remember. I remember every once in a while, hey, I like this. Keep an eye on that stuff.
Lisa said it was another holiday because we didn't move in together until January.
I must have been some other girl.
All right, so let's change the subject.
Yeah, your sister says Ernesto's handsome man too. He's very handsome. You're right. So that's when we met. That's one of the times he met. And I'm going to tell you something. So we were at Lisa's house. This is another, and I may be mixing them up.
Yeah, you're mixing them up.
But we were at Lisa's house, and her and I were dating, and we had ordered this big meal from Luby's, where there was a big expensive roast, man, and prime rib. Forget the roast. It was prime rib. And I'm like, hey, all right, everybody get out, man. I'm ready to relax. It's late in the evening time, right? And everybody's leaving. Okay, bye. I'm at the door, man. And guess what I see walking like this with a prime rib. I was like, where are you going with this, man? He's like, Lisa gave it to me. He's walking. I'm like, go ahead, man.
So you got no leftovers?
Yeah, no leftovers. He took off with no. He left the potato salad. He left my prime rib. I tell everybody that story.
That's funny,
Yeah.
right there.
So I think shortly after that, I asked him, "Hey, you want a job, man? You know?" And I think I gave him a job at the shop. I paid him, I think, like $100 a week to sweep the floor.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or I might have said, hey, man, I'm going to charge you to teach you something. I might have told him something like that. And I'm going to tell you something, man. There's a story behind that my little truck, our truck that we have now that we use to run parts.
The blue one?
The little Ranger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This one here, that belonged to my client back then. And I had to put a set of brake pads on, right? He ended up putting the brake pads, the padding goes against the rotor. Have you ever put brake pads on?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
He put them in inside out, the metal to the rotor. When you stop,
How do they say so? Like when you lie on your resume, but yet you get the job.
yeah. And then I was like, "What the hell?" And I said, "Take this crap off, man." And then that's when I remember that because I was like, "Hey, well, where you staying?" I don't know. I don't remember too much. All I know is that he didn't have nowhere to live, so he lived in my office. He lived in my office for a good while. I gave him, a heater, and I gave him some blankets and a pillow, and he slept on the. Look, man, we come so far, man.
And you guys seem like you got like a real close bond, a real close relationship. Is
I
it
kind of don't like him.
I feel like you took him under your wing. Is it because you saw a lot of yourself in him? Well.
He's a good dude, man.
That's what's
He's
up.
a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. And Ernesto's a good guy. He's got a good heart, man. And he's got a devil inside him, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a devil inside him that won't leave him alone. But he every day I see that he tries and he struggles, and he's got his demons like me, man. We have a similar story. My dad too. I have regrets, man. I left when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, man. I went out of town. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. I think back at the times when these memories come up of me went to Florida, and after my dad was diagnosed, I said, man, I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have fucking left, man. And I get this pain in my stomach. I get this pain in my gut, man. And I'm like, I shouldn't have left, man. And I live with that regret. But you know what? Our regret, man, we have to work on it, man. We can't let us hold us down. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, man, I did love my dad. I just, I had things going on in my life, and we worked through that pain and we turn it around, man. And we use it for positive today. We can't dwell on it, man.
So, but you use step work to get over the death of your father? I mean, because when Ernesto talks, it feels like he's still working to that.
It's never nonstop, man. We take look, and I'm not a step working person. Let me tell you something else, man. When he shared that he finally let that cry out with my dad, when I buried my dad, when we didn't bury him, we cremated him, right? But we had a service for him at his church, right? Dude, through the whole time after when my dad died with me by myself in the room. My dad's body, his spirit, if you will, right, left Earth while he was alive with me. We were alone. Then my dad died with me in the room by myself, right? Mm-hmm. Big old long thing, doctors come in and they try to revive him, and that was it, And I was like, why, man? Why'd you pick me? Why me? I felt like he, So, man, I was tripping from then all the way to where we'd made we're wheeling my dad out hours later. My dad died at like 9:00 in the morning, one morning. And then at 5:00, we're there and I'm there all day. And at 5:00 in the morning, the next day, I haven't slept. And they take my dad, they put him in a gurney, and then they start wheeling him out of the hospital through the bottom underneath. And we're following. And I'm watching my dad being pulled out, man, and I'm like, is so unreal, so whatever. Man, I don't know how to explain the feeling, but numb. You know what I mean? I think that's where all these songs that I get to relate to, man, like "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd, "The Simple Man" with him, he can relate to with his dad, and anyway, so I remember when we had the service for my dad, dude, I stayed strong. I remember going, man, why am I not crying? I wanted to cry, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like I wasn't feeling anything, man. And Lisa can attest to this, man. That my dad was, dude, at the time, and then, so everything went through. We made the arrangements with the funeral home, and then they scheduled the burning for my father. Can you imagine? Within this hour, at that hour, you know that your dad is being cremated. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in a hot, fiery furnace, and you're going, it's going on right now. My father's in this, for this furnace,
Was that his wish?
That's what he wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, can you imagine? You're sitting there. I was at the shop.
No. I
When
couldn't.
I was at the shop after my dad passed away. Hours, I'm lying. After he passed away, when he died, 4 hours later, because it was at 9 a.m. By noon, I left and I went and opened my shop.
You the same day?
The same day,
Yeah.
I opened the shop, the little shop. I opened both doors and I just sat there. I don't remember what I did, but I remember going, "What am I doing here?" And what am I doing here? And then I just stayed there because that was my safe place. That was where me and my dad spent so many years there. I say all that to say this, man. My dad was cremated, and a week or two went by, man, and I went to sleep one night, and man, around 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just, oh man, I went fucking crazy. I just started bawling, man. Lisa was asleep. We were both asleep, and I just, oh man, she probably won't forget either. Cause I probably scared her. It just boom, it all went to it just came out. That was it, and I never cried like that again in my life that I can remember. So when you're saying that, dude, I'm going, oh shit, I could relate to that, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was amazing. When Ernesto, I met Ernesto, like I said, let me go forward. We met, and I saw that he's a good dude, man, and that he would, I think he would do well, man, and he would help others because people saw that in me. People would tell me that all the time. And Ernesto, at the time that he told me that he was drinking and smoking weed, and he really, it's surprising to me that he loved to drink because he loved to smoke weed at the time. That's what I thought.
2 downers.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and then so he started working for me at the time.
While he was smoking and drinking.
Well, he was supposed to be. I don't know. He's the one that could tell you when he relapsed or if he ever even stayed clean. I don't know. I think he stayed clean for a little while. I never pursued to find out. How long did you stay clean after you started working at the shop?
I stayed clean for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I started. I would go to the meetings, and that's when I started going to meetings, NA meetings, and I stayed clean for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to take the suggestions that was given to me. And when I started working at the little shop, I remember I worked for a temp service at Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
unloading the trucks. And then one night, after a while, like, man, I wouldn't even have a day off sometimes. And like one night I was like, hey, I told this guy, let's go drink.
You told him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, we went to his place and we drank, and then that's when I started that cycle started of getting some clean time, staying clean, not doing anything, and then I would, I'll be all right. I'll be all right to drink this or that, or just have a couple of drinks, and then, that leads to doing more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's never enough. But yeah, how much time do we have?
Ernesto,
Don't worry about the time.
we're gonna talk because you got to come back though.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Can we finish this next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Are
but I
you
would
okay
like
with
for
that?
him to. Yeah, absolutely. You're committed to next week to come finish the story.
Sure.
Okay, but listen, man. I want to before we let you go, man, and you stayed a little clean. You started you relapsed. At the time, you weren't taking it serious, were you? You weren't really taking it serious. That you wanted to really get
I
clean. You
never
hadn't
did.
seen that you hadn't seen that they at the
Outcome.
time that what recovery was really going to do for you yet, right?
No, not like today. Not mentally today. Like staying clean, yes, of saving my money, buying a car, buying, you know, paying rent,
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. Yeah, but not mentally, not in my head,
You
not.
know, I mean, I'm going to tell you something, man. I've never given this guy a break. Do you know that?
And
No, I've always held him responsible for his actions. In fact, I have fired him twice.
yeah,
I have. You know, I fired him at the time whenever he relapsed. I don't remember if I fired you or not. I did,
The last time, yeah.
and well, both times. I think both times because yeah, I won't tolerate. Look, and he knows, man. He's I care deeply about him. But he cannot use. He cannot use around. He cannot be dirty around me and my family. I hold my recovery very serious,
yes.
and for him to jeopardize my recovery, it means that he doesn't care about me, and I won't accept that.
That's
You know what I mean?
I respect that. That
So
makes sense.
yeah, so it hurt me this last time. The first time it didn't really phase me because I didn't know him that well yet. I just thought it was another guy that I was gonna try and give a hand to, and it just didn't work. This last time it did bother me a lot that he had to go. But this last time, Ernesto.
Did you know that?
Um, yes, it bothered me a lot, but I had to do it. I had to. This last time also was a little different, man. He had graduated. He graduated to something harder, and I knew that I saw a difference. I saw the difference in him because he was losing the weight really rapidly.
Yeah.
And and I won't disclose what he was on. He could disclose it. It's not for me to disclose what he was on. Me, I've opened up and said my problem was crack. I loved it. You know what I mean? When I smoked it, it became my lover, man. It's just everything in the world to me. But at this last time, like I said, I'm going a little too far. I'm just setting up the story for next week.
Yeah.
Because at that time, Ernesto really went above and beyond, man. The drinking beer and the alcohol. It's like a lot of us think that that's so alcohol is sociably acceptable. And when I got out of recovery, I don't know if I told both of y'all that I used to identify as a recovering alcoholic. I used to tell my people that I knew and my clients that, oh yeah, I go to AA. I didn't want to be associated with NA, but today, man, with my success, if I will, the small success that I have experienced in my life and in recovery and in my family and in my career, dude, I'm happy and I'm proud to say that I'm a recovering drug addict, man. And I think Ernesto, man, I'm very proud of him. What he's accomplished, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. He again. I saw him at his worst. In fact, I saw him. I'm going to just set the story up so he can finish it. But I was at a high-rise apartment in the sky. I didn't have my apartment at the time. I had leased one for the weekend. When I bought this building, that weekend is when he almost lost his life. And I would want next week, if y'all tune in, we're gonna wrap it up, man. Next week, if y'all tune in, you're gonna hear about Ernesto, coming close to losing his life, man, and how the miracle has worked in his life.
We barely touched the story. There's
Yeah.
a lot, and I got a shitload of questions I want to ask you, and you too, because I feel y'all got a bond, man, and I like that. I like to see it, I see y'all are pretty much everywhere together, and I look up to you because I see the way you're taking care of this young man, and I say young man because I know I'm older than you.
A youngster.
Yeah, but man, you got a lot of people that say you're a good guy and that you're doing great work, man. To keep it up, But we'll,
There's a story with BB, man. Okay, that this guy is. If you want, he'll share it next week. You know what I mean? There's a story, BB, and this, they work together now.
Yeah.
But next week, Ernesto will share. Man, he's gonna share some embarrassing things like we all have.
Yeah.
But hey, I tell you what, the cure to our program and to our disease is to put it all out there, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a true believer. I'm a true believer, man, that when we put everything that we've done, all the wrong that we've done, nobody can ever use it against us.
Yeah,
everybody knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody knows.
Exactly.
Everybody knows. And I've been accused of shit. But you know what, man? I don't. Ain't nothing nobody can hold because I don't keep anything in the dark anymore. Everybody knows that I like midget prostitutes and hotels, and all that stuff. And what I used to before I got married. Midget prostitutes. That's a joke.
I wish I knew you then.
Yeah. But with that, man, look, Ernesto's coming back. You're coming back next Wednesday to finish the story, right? Or we may even have to bring him in 3 times.
Yeah, man.
Because he's got a long story, man.
Nah,
So for today, we're gonna wrap us up.
Hey, we're gonna shut down. I think we're gonna go eat. We're gonna go eat.
Yeah. Let's our special guest, man. Say a couple of words, Ernesto, to take us out. Tell us some words, some words of wisdom, some words of encouragement from your recovery standpoint.
Well, I mean, I just want to.
Ernesto, look what Eloy says, man. After he forgives you, Ernesto. Anyway, go ahead, man. Good. BB's a good dude, man. We go way back too.
He's awesome.
He's all right.
I want to put it out there that there is hope. When you lose hope, when you think it's over, man, there is hope. And hopefully y'all can tune in next week and hear
the other part of it. The hope part of it. There you go. Because we heard all the bad stuff, everything they call it. Not bad stuff. Yeah, there's some bad left over. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's it.
I think this is your tia. Your tia says she's proud of you. Keep fighting the fight. Handsome nephew. She loves you. Lisa wants to know.
The tia's always got to say they're handsome, but they're really not handsome.
Lisa wants to know where we're gonna go eat.
What are you buying, Lisa? Tacos.
And your sister wants to know where we're gonna go eat too.
Caitlin. I'm gonna tell you, man. Caitlin, and I hope, and I'm not. We're not supposed to use names, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm proud of this guy because I'm gonna tell you something. He's gonna talk about it next week. How he's helping his family members also get clean.
That's what's
man.
up.
You know what I mean? So he's working his program, man. Ernesto is working a hard, strong program, man, and he's making differences not only in recovering addicts' lives, man, but the people that he loves. With that, man, let's get out so we can go eat.
And with that, if you guys be sure to tune in, subscribe, be sure to share, like it. We'll see you next week. Hey, Ricky.
You're right. Hey, Ernesto, the lie is dead. You know why? We do recover, man. And you know what? The lie is dead.
We do recover.
Right on.